Hi, my name is Ingrid Arna and welcome to the Divine Femme Money Show. This is the juiciest conversation for women around money, power, sensuality, relationships and business. And in this episode, I interview my gorgeous client Sarva, who went from broke healer to doula diva queen and is now the breadwinner in her family with two little bubbas making over $30,000 a month. Sarva was able to combine her calling of ancient medicine with her doula work and come into her power as a leader and as a healer by taking radical responsibility and using the framework she learnt with us to build a sustainable future for her family. I cannot wait for you to hear her incredible story. You can find the Divine Femme Money Show at your favorite podcast provider and at ingridarna.com/show. Hey, gorgeous Sarva, how are you?
I am fabulous. How are you?
I am very fabulous, knowing that you have made $70,000 in 3 months since joining Seven Figure Diva. Do I have that right?
That is right. The very first month that I was in, I made $30K that month. I had set my goal at $20K and I did $30K, and that was about double the highest month I've ever had before. And I had really only done a $15K month like twice before ever in my life. So
and you have a little, congratulations. And I'm going to share with them the power of your work and the beautiful work that you're doing in the world, which is really sacred. But when you came to Seven Figure Diva, you just had a baby. You've got a little baby right now. And because you could have made an excuse, or been like, I'm too tired, or I've got too much on my plate. Like, what really led you to make the decision and really give us that heck yes and give yourself permission to shift the way you were running your business?
Well, okay, Ingrid, actually, I have a really cool story if you want to hear it.
Yeah, I do.
So I don't know if you remember, but back in May of 2019, you sent your email list a free month in $1 Million Diva.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I have 2 babies now. When you sent that out, and it was like a Mother's Day gift that you sent, I had just my first baby then, and I was being really stubborn, refusing to go get a job because I wanted to be with my baby. And my husband, he is a beautiful healer, but he does not bring us any money, and he wasn't going to get a job either. So then you send a free month in $1 Million Diva when we had like nothing. I was like wondering how we're going to pay rent. And wow. In $1 Million Diva, I watched a recording of you saying, okay, if you need quick cash flow, this is what you need to do. So I did that. I sold my first $2K package, paid rent, bought us food, got another month in $1 Million Diva, sold another $2K package that month. And then I got another one of your lower end offers that you had at the time that was like a digital program. And that taught me how to start packaging up my work. And I started recording the whole training that I now have available, getting like 1 or 2 students in at a time. So long story short, I worked up from like nothing, like literally nothing, not even knowing how I was going to pay rent, to pretty consistent, like 8 to 10K months.
It's such a huge difference, and I think sometimes people say to me, we're talking about, let's do testimonial, they'll be like, oh, I'm only at 8K a month, or the testimonials that you do are so big. And I'm like, babe, it's huge. It's such a huge, I remember I never made 8K a month. I would have loved to have made 8K a month. And it's not also just when we're talking about these things about the financial, isn't it? It's about really shifting our energy around our value, our sense of power, making sure that when we are mothers, we're able to really take care of our families. There's such a huge emotional, energetic shift that happens. So whether it's an extra 5K a month or you're at 8K or whether you're at 100K a month, it's interesting that people sort of think and assume that I'm just always about the big, big numbers. And it's not, because I never started off immediately. You've got to reach your first 8K like you did to get to the then 16, to then it's all this like stepping stone, isn't it? So I really want to commend you. It's like such a huge, and the fact that, I mean, I'm so happy when you were telling me that I sent out $1 Million Diva, that I did that free membership offer for that month, because I mean, that's what it's all about too, like being able to have the abundance to pay and offer someone training, you know, for free like that, so that you could then ascend and start selling. And then you've been able to go into a higher ticket offer of ours. But you did so much beautiful work to reach that on your own, which is awesome. So beautiful. So what is life, you know, and just let everybody know. So your package that you have is called Ayurvedic Diva, not Diva, Ayurvedic, I've got Diva on my brain, Ayurvedic doula, right?
The Ayurvedic doula. Yes, I train and certify doulas in Ayurvedic and herbal traditions. Mm-hmm. So I help them create gorgeous goddess doula businesses.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Literally helping women bring life into the world. I mean, it's just absolutely so potent and gorgeous. And we do need to have more ritual art within that, don't we? And I think women, we're surrounded by so many people that live in such, we get caught up in that busyness and that pushing energy, when really at the end of the day, when you're pregnant and you're bringing a baby and life into the world, it's just such a sacred process. And I sometimes wonder if we realize, like, because we just see so many people doing it, it becomes almost, people get complacent with it, but it is such a big undertaking for a woman to grow another human being and then birth that human being, when it can be a real risk, and it can be beautiful, and it can also be traumatic if you don't have that level of support that you offer. So it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and the transition into motherhood after birth and what happens during those sacred window after birth is so hard on mamas, because we don't have the support we need. But Ayurveda and in different ancient traditions have these beautiful support systems where women just absolutely thrive, but we've been disconnected from that. So
would you say that with those beautiful divine traditions and bringing them back into modern times, bringing the ancient into the modern, that it really helps women with eliminating, you know, the symptoms of depression, overwhelm, feeling alone? There's so many different emotions and feelings that women, I think we become quite isolated in a way too.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. That's what it is. Anxiety, depression, colicky baby, you know, hair loss, depletion, all of these things are not how it's meant to be for mamas, but that's become normal for us because that's what all our mamas are experiencing. And it's just because of the disconnect between the ways of actually caring for a new mother.
So it's so beautiful. I just love hearing you speaking. Your voice is so calming and nurturing and beautiful. So how is your life different now? And it's happened all over. How many months has it been since you started in Seven Figure Diva?
It's only been 3 months. So honestly, Ingrid, I'm just like getting started. It does. I'm just getting started. It's just wait, what's going to happen? Because right now I'm really like, I took a step back to start nourishing myself in a different way. One of the first things you messaged me toward the beginning of my time in Seven Figure Diva, and I was like telling you I was really just overwhelmed and tired, and you were like, you need to get an assistant. So I got an assistant. I've started, I have people that I've started to hire for the first time. It's not just me anymore. And I've really taken a step back to like start nourishing myself so that I can hold space for all the beautiful women in my program and such.
It's so important. It's so important. You're going to be, you know, a much better practitioner, as you would know. Not that you're not amazing, but for myself included in this, if I'm a burnt out wreck of a woman, it's very difficult to hold. If you're doing really deep sort of shamanista work as well as taking people through an IP process for them to become certified and the best in their industry, it's a huge responsibility, especially if you're an ethical leader and teacher. So with ethics at the heart of everything that we do with online business, conscious business, which is really rounded and formed in a new paradigm, I believe, of business, which is the divine, honoring the divine feminine. Ethics is there. Women, so many women that have so much guilt and shame around making money. I'm like, please release that, because if you are honoring your word and you're offering an incredible service, in order for you to continue doing it and doing it in a way that doesn't create absolute suffering from a physical, emotional standpoint. I was speaking to my sister, actually, who's been in the online space, and I was like, entrepreneurship is not always great for your mental health if you don't have, it can really throw you off. It's very challenging. Working in corporate and working in a job you hate is also incredibly challenging, but there's something, I think, with the entrepreneurship, there is a lot of risk involved. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of learning. But I think when you get it right, and the way you're doing it now is the right way, by ensuring that you are deeply supported so that you can be that leader and lead your students from a place of what we would call like the overflow. So you're not depleted. And I've been working tirelessly to figure this, I should say tirelessly, it's been true, to figure this out. Where are my boundaries, and what am I giving and what am I not giving? Where do I need more support? Or if I have support and I still don't feel nourished, I'm like, well, what's off here? It's always like, okay, so is it the person's not really working in their zone of genius, or that they'll never have the skill and ability? They might be a really nice person, but they don't have the ability to actually support you or I, depending, they're working for you or for me, because they don't really have the skill set or the emotional disposition or the emotional IQ to actually be what we need them to be. It's been a huge lesson, huge lesson for me. Making sure that I really manifest very high level, high functioning, emotionally grounded individuals to support the frame. So if everything is an energy, if we start to attach our businesses to energies that aren't really going to nurture you and hold you, it's like you begin to tip over. More than ever right now, I can't impress upon how much like you as the CEO and the leader is the life force that holds it all together. And if your life force isn't radiant and beaming and held and supported, it just falls. It's the same thing with being a mama, like the head of the household, all right? If she's not nourished and really held and honored, and she doesn't honor herself, or she's expecting maybe even someone else to do that for her. I see so many women like almost like asking for permission from their partners, waiting for someone. I started buying my own gifts. I started booking my own massages. I don't wait for my husband to do that. I mean, he can't even do that for himself. How's he going to do that for me? I'm like, I'm going to just, I buy my own Valentine's presents. If my husband buys me something on top of that, that's wonderful. But I'm just going to celebrate myself and get my needs met. And I think it's the same with business, isn't it? It's like really going, oh my God, I can do this, and I can do it in a way that really sustains me. I think so many women, and I want to ask you what your input on this. I think so many women don't want to scale a business or grow a business because they think, oh, it's going to be too much. It's going to take from me. What would you say to that? What's your experience?
I think that you can, it depends how you set it up, right? You could set it up in a way that it's going to take from you. But since I've been in 7-figure diva mind, that's been the biggest transition, is like, no, let me readjust this so that it's going to nourish me so deeply that the work I'm meant to do in this world can just overflow. Mm-hmm. And then like the impact I can have is so huge, even just in my day-to-day life. But then that ripples out so far.
So far, because as one woman rises up and becomes really deeply empowered by your work, she is passing that on and paying it forward. It's like one light lighting another light, and it just becomes illuminated and literally endless. I love it. How is your relationship with if I may ask, I'm getting a little bit up close and personal. We're talking about all things money, which you're not meant to talk about. So we'll talk about all things love. How is your partner responding to this shift and change?
You know, it's been really beautiful for our relationship because I think the way that him and I are meant to function in the world is that I'm supposed to lead the way. And I think I was hanging back trying to get him to lead the way and being resentful that he wasn't. So now that I've like fully stepped into my role as a leader, we've fallen into such a beautiful harmony, and I can like let go of the resentment that I've had. And I'm so like, I love having him home with us and to be there to tend to the kids. And like, I wouldn't want him to be out working somewhere else.
But it's another myth that we're fed. It's like, the belief, it's kind of like you're not smart enough or good enough or have the skill enough in some way to be the boss diva of your financial power in your life, and the man has to come in some way rescue you. So we're all looking for the knight in shining armor, and then when he's not that, hence the resentment. I've been there, I've seen this time and time again, and what I've worked out from that too, which is what you've just expressed, which is that if you're a visionary leader here to serve, that's your life calling. You came in with that DNA code. Like it's kind of a little bit humorous because we've been fed this myth on looking to the male. Yes, I mean, my husband is so supportive and like the rock, but also who has ADHD, by the way. So he's like, can be very, scattered. And actually, as a gift, for me, I was talking about this just in video, I've had to reshape my brain because I used to be a real creative, and I am still very creative, but I've now had to learn how to become creative and strategic. Can't say it, creative and strategic. Can't even say that word. But marrying my right and left brain and not going into sort of fight flight response, which really came from the way I was brought up and my conditioning, where I really lost a lot of my sense of power. And so I married a man who's beautiful and divine, and he's so perfect for the type of woman that I am because he doesn't overpower me. He's not threatened by my power. He's there as a supporter, but to expect him, and it sounds like your husband's like very similar, to expect them to be something that they have not signed up for. Like they are also taught that they have to be the financial, like the breadwinner. And so it can create a bit of like where we're reforming the masculine and the feminine in this new age, right? And what is the role? And as a visionary leader woman, we are literally kidding ourselves to think that we're not meant to be in that position of running the show. It's like we're literally channels and we're downloading information, what we want our husbands to be doing it. They literally don't even have that ability. I mean, it's like we have like 5 or 6 senses. They should be paying us more. Hello, not less. Equality. Like and I'm not saying that men are not as powerful as us or anything, but we women have, especially visionary, light working, aligned women, we're just like on a whole other level, and they cannot match that. They just can't. It is just part, and so I'm like, what? Like almost like I've had to have a brain rework over, because if you think about it, from early childhood, as little girls, we're fed the myth that it is the man who's going to make the money, lead, take care of us. And so our partners, your husband or your partner takes care of you. My husband takes care of me, but it's not the way that we've been conditioned to believe that they should.
That's exactly right. Like,
isn't it full on?
He takes care of me in the most beautiful ways. Like,
exactly.
There's amazing meals, and he's always there, and he's endlessly sweet. And
exactly. Yeah. And you wouldn't be able to, I'm not saying that you couldn't do this alone, but with 2 little kids, with you, without having a rock there for you, like also honoring and celebrating what they do give, not what they don't give. Because I think I had a lot of resentment there. But then if I slowed down and looked at, well, I've got a really healthy, beautiful child, who's very confident, and she's getting that support from both parents. And, and my husband does do the school drop-offs and pickups. It's not me. No mothers at school barely know that I exist, because when I started to build my business, it was really like, head down, tail up, and we had to conquer and divide. And that's how it worked. And now I have more time and more space and all of that. But at the beginning, that's what it was. And it's really great to hear what a beautiful space that you're in, and what a beautiful divine honoring that you have, that he has for you and you have for him. That's just exciting, isn't it?
It's true. It's such a blessing, such a gift.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like it's my destiny to be in this leadership role, right? But if he had come in and just taken charge from the beginning, maybe I would have never been forced,
Yeah, well, you were forced to on some level, because you both, and this is what happened to Chris and I, you were starting from ground zero. And when you're starting from ground zero, you've got only two choices. And that is, and I know it very well, and that's either, because I've been there, I lost my company in New York, I came home, I had to start from scratch. And Chris had lost his job. And so we only had like 6 months to really make sure that we were going to absolutely fly. And we had no guarantee. And we had to really just go for it. And we did. And it worked, thank God. But at the end of the day, you either have two choices in life. And it's whether you're going to be an entrepreneur or not. It's like every day I think you're faced with, am I going to rise like an absolute light, or am I going to go down into the darkness? And I realize, and I think what you're saying is so true and so powerful, that because our partners weren't we didn't marry these really rich, cashed up men, right? It's ironic that, maybe, if I had a really rich husband, if it was a control, it's not to say that a rich man is going to be so controlling, but it's usually more about how does a woman support him and his endeavors and his vision. So I agree with you. I think what you're saying is really true. I don't know if we would have come to it as soon as we have. And I think we have manifested the perfect partners for us, because we are both those boss diva leaders who are meant to be in the spotlight, who are meant to be leading, who are forefront. And they are, well, they're not actually behind, they're side by side, but we've just got different roles. And I have to laugh a little bit at it, the humor of it all, because I've definitely been in the, oh my God, why don't I just marry a rich guy? It would have been so much easier. No, in all seriousness, that we've definitely manifested the perfect partnerships, I think, for ourselves. So if someone was listening to us today and hearing a story of reaching your 30K months and it just being the beginning, and you getting into a beautiful divine position of supporting your business, serving people really deeply with your divine process. And it's a process now that is literally scalable, so you can bring in more and more clients every single month without working more time, which is literally the best thing you can do for yourself. What would you say to someone sort of sitting on the edge thinking, should I do this or not do this? Is it the right time now, or should I wait for what I love? I love this divine timing. I'm like, girlfriend, divine timing is your timing. Whatever time you decide is the time, it is the divine time, because you are the divine. That always is a whole other conversation. What would you say to them, darling?
I would say 100% go for it. Honestly, what are you waiting for? I can't believe how quickly life is passing me by. I feel like I'm blinking and my children are growing up. How much longer do you want to question it and struggle and not be living the life that you're meant here to live? I say go for it. There's nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Thank you, darling. And if you could explain, I'm a very intense, passionate woman. What is the energy like in the group with all the other coaches and all the other women? Is it loving? What's it like? How would you describe it? I'd really love to hear.
Oh my goodness. I feel like it's a really loving energy. I'm the kind of person who's more sensitive, and I was I wonder if I can handle the intensity of the energy. No, it's completely backed by love. I haven't felt anything other than fully supported, fully held, nourished, urged in the right direction. Loving is the word I have for it.
Loving. Sometimes we need a bit of fierce love. We need soft love. We need gentle love. We need a caress. And sometimes we need okay, girlfriend, move. Or what's the energy? Like when you're depleted, I love it sometimes when something is a little bit off, because I believe like pleasure and pain are such great barometers. Like, so whenever something's off, like when you were saying, I feel like I'm doing really well, but I'm exhausted. There's always a way to acknowledge that, number one, is such an important part of the process, but then there's always a way to solve it. You can literally solve it so quickly, especially when you have, I believe, support, because I need it in my own life. Like sometimes if I'll get overwhelmed, if I have a girlfriend or a sister or one of my kinesiologists, who are also all my friends that work with us, you can like literally transform it in 5 minutes rather than going into like 5 months of slow decline, overwhelm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's right. Like, you know, a lot of times when there's a place that I'm like stuck, and either you or one of the coaches has like pointed me in the direction I needed to go, it's just such a relief to not be stuck anymore. And I don't know. So it's not like there hasn't been like this big, like, you know, crisis, like, oh no, it's just like, no, let's just go this way. And it can be easier. And now I'm back in alignment. And so everything feels good again, you know? Yes. Yeah.
We should always feel good. And when we don't feel good, I think we just need to, that's been one of my biggest lessons of my life, to just look at, okay, this doesn't feel good. What do I need to shift in order to make this really juicy? I think my whole thing these days, especially as I get older and older, and you're talking about time passing you by, I have literally zero tolerance for like the grind. I'm like, who do I need to hire? What do I need to do? What belief do I need to shift in order to make this orgasmic? Because I'm over this shiz. Like, I'm not doing that. And I think so many women are conditioned into suffering. You know, you have to pay penance. And my whole journey of my 40 plus years has been learning to unwire that belief system to really come back into that gentle, divine, aligned flow. It's probably going to be one of my lifelong lessons. However, I feel that I've reached a place where I definitely can help, for want of a better word. I was talking about, I don't know if you've ever heard me explain this, Sarva. The way that I am when you work with me is I'm such an activator, right? And being really true about, well, what do you bring to people and what don't you bring? And I can be the loving and kind and soft and gentle, and I'm great at copy and messaging and structure and all that kind of stuff, but and ads and funnels, that kind of stuff. But I'm an activator. So I say, you don't come to me when you're trying to figure out whether you want to fall pregnant. Maybe you'll fall pregnant. Maybe I don't know. No, you come to me when the baby is crowning and you want to move that baby. You know, you want to birth a product. You want to birth the baby. I'm like, so I'm kind of like a doula for business. I'm down on my hands and knees in everything that's coming out, and the blood and the mess and the this and the that and the screams and the joy and the pleasure. That's what I'm here for. And I think it's taken me quite a long time to be really honoring and truthful and to claim that which I am, that I don't need to be. I'm not the passive bystander. People come to me, I believe, for truth and love and honesty, and for them to really remember their own power, because it is very, in the industry, there's a lot of power play manipulation. And so, number one, I'm not going to lie about who I am. I'm not going to tone it down to be, because that person, when they get to know, like it's like I'm delivering a false person, a false identity. You can only just be ourselves. And I believe the right customer, the right clients, the right friendships, the right lovers, the right whatever will come into our lives through honoring and being really clear about who we are. And that's been really powerful in my work. And so getting really clear about, I'm the person, I'm not here for passive. I'm not here for if people are confused about what they want to birth or how to do it, I get that. Like, I do that in my sleep. I know how to do it fast. I know how to get people laser lucid clear. But I've said to people, I just did a video in my live group, I was like, don't come to me if you're not clear about the fact that, absolutely, I want this. I'm making a vow to figure out how to monetize my gifts and to be of service, but to do it in a way that really allows me to ascend emotionally, spiritually, and financially. If you haven't made that sacred vow, you shouldn't come to me, because that is a very, that energy is kind of like, it's just so not clear. The business side is all learnable. But I think, do you agree with where I'm saying? I'm probably going all over the place, but what I'm trying to say is, like, the woman who is coming to us to be in the container with us, Sarva, and to work with me, and if they join us at Seven Figure Diva or any other program and they get to know you, I think the thing that binds us all together is this deep vow around service, deep vow around leadership, and a deep vow that we've made that we are going to figure this out and ensure that we grow financially, spiritually, and emotionally no matter what. Do you agree with that? Like, that's what you must have decided. Like, there's no way that you would have started manifesting all that stuff if you weren't so committed to your life's calling. There's just no way.
Mm-hmm. That's 100%. At the beginning, you were asking, like, where was I before I joined with these two little kids? Like, That's exactly where I was. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do anything that it takes. I'm going to try everything until I find the thing that works. And I know exactly what I want, and I'm going to get it. And I also was I know that Ingrid is the one who can help me. I was also clear on that. So
I will say that, and as you know, because you're a mystic yourself and very clear about this, and we'll wrap it up, but I will say that that intent and that clarity is one of the most important steps of the creation. It's like, it's like the desire to just make it happen. It's like an unwavering energy where then all that support comes in to hold you. I love that. I love it. It's so beautiful. It's really interesting, because what happened for me happened for you, because I was at that point. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm so done with this shiz, and no matter what, I'm going to make this happen. So Sarva, I just want to thank you. Your work is sacred. You're an absolute divine light, such a beautiful soul. And thank you for sharing so beautifully and openly with us all today. And I cannot wait for you to continue to slay and hit even bigger paydays by really serving women at such a deep level. So they're very lucky to have you. And thank you for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Ingrid. It was such a pleasure to get to talk with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you for
pleasure. Bless you.
So gorgeous. If you've been listening and you're ready to grow your booming, beautiful online business, or you're ready to take your current business into a whole other divine, juicy stratosphere, schedule a call with one of my strategists. We're going to map out a 4-part plan to radically grow your revenue and your impact with authenticity, grace, and proven strategy. I cannot wait to explore how we can make magic together. So apply for your complimentary strategy call now at ceodivachat.com.